Good morning, children. This is Srinivas. Today, you are going to learn the first chapter of grade 9 physics. This is chapter 8 motion. The topics to be covered are rest and motion, types of motion, scalar and vector quantities, distance and displacement, uniform and non uniform motion for today. Generally, when you talk about motion, immediately your thought gets into the biology motion, which is about the sending out the waste from our body, undigested food. But here in physics, motion has a different meaning. Let us get into the lesson. We all use common things around us that are moving, like if we see around us, observe air moving around you, like having clocks with the hands moving. We all know that day and night is caused because of motion of earth around the sun. Even seasons are caused because of it. So we are going to study in detail what exactly the term motion. To know more about motion or rest, we should first get familiar with the term reference point or stationary object. To comment about the state of any object, we have to consider a reference point or stationary object or surroundings. This reference point or stationary object does not change its position. For example, if we consider a pole and a car, a moving car, then pole will be stationary as it can't change its position, but the car can change. This tells about that a pole is fixed at a point, but car can move from one place to another place. So, in order to say that car is at rest or motion, we need to consider its motion with respect to that of pole or any other object which is stationary. The stationary object can also be called as a reference point. So here you have learnt about a reference point and a moving object. So what is exactly a body which is at rest and what is motion? For this, let us take different examples to understand it. Let us consider a car standing in front of a house. Let's say first it is at position A, then after some time it moves to position B. That means it has changed its position with respect to stationary object, that is a house. And if that car keeps on standing at position A, that means it hasn't changed its position with respect to house, that remains at rest. So here we define the terms rest and motion as rest when a body doesn't change its position with respect to surroundings or reference point, it is called as rest. Or in other words, you can just explain, if there is no movement in a body with respect to surroundings, the body is said to be at rest. I once again repeat, if there is no change in the position of a body with respect to its surroundings, then the body is said to be at rest. Then what is motion? If there is movement in a body or change in the position of a body with respect to surroundings, then the body is said to be in motion. Motion simply meaning, English meaning, you can say motion meaning movement. movement, movement. But in physics, motion mean movement of a body with respect to surroundings. So we can say that when any object is moving or in motion, it possesses following characteristics as given below. The moving object changes its position with the time. Now we have seen that motion of car can be easily seen. That is, we don't have to concentrate much, but to know the movement of arm of clock, let's say our hand, we need to keep check. This is because some motion is that fast that we can see it happening. On the other hand, some motion is so slow that it can't be seen clearly. We can celebrate it as our wristwatch has three hands: minutes, seconds, and hour hand. Out of them, second hand moves fast that its motion can be seen, but in order to see the motion of hour hand and minute hand, we have to keep the track as the motion in them is completely slow. What are the different types of motion we have? We have linear motion, rotational motion, circular motion, and vibratory motion. What are the different types of motion? Linear, rotational, circular, and vibratory. As you all have gone through these types of motion in your previous classes, once again let us go through here even in our ninth grade also. Linear motion. Here you can simply see the spelling of linear, Linear. You can see Line, line. Answer is there in the term itself, line. A object which is moving in a line is called linear motion. Let us see what is given. We all when we all drive on road, mostly the roads are straight. So that motion where we move in a straight line is called linear motion. I hope you have understood what is meant by linear motion. If your body is moving in a straight line, then the body is said to be in linear motion. Rotational motion, it's a very easy one. You all know that Earth rotates on its axis, which causes day and night. That movement is rotational motion because it is rotating on its axis. So we can define as the rotational motion when the body rotates about a fixed axis. You can take even a fan rotating in your house as an example. Next, what is meant by circular motion? You all encounter roundabouts on road, and when you are driving you can't drive straight through it. You have to take the curved path, that is the circular motion. So if body travels along a curved path, then the body is said to be having circular motion. Vibratory motion. You all must have played with the instrument guitar. So what happens when you strike it with your finger? Its string starts vibrating and thus the sound is produced. The motion is vibratory as it is caused due to vibratory motion of particles. So it is when body show to and from, to and fro movements. Here in this picture you can see different types of motion. The periodic motion of the earth around the sun. Next, rectilinear propagation, that is light traveling in straight line. Curvilinear motion, when you are throwing a ball over a few people to make another person catch the ball. Curvilinear. You can see the pendulum in a clock as oscillatory motion, and a linear motion. Then what are scalar and vector physical quantities. What is a physical quantity? First of all, any quantity that can be measured and given units to it in physics is called a physical quantity. Any measurable quantity which can be measured given the numerical value along with the units is called a physical quantity. Say your height 5.3 feet. Feet is the unit and 5.3 is the numerical value. In the same way, these physical quantities are divided into scalar and vector quantities. Let us know what is a scalar quantity. It is a physical quantity that depends upon magnitude and not the direction. It is called scalar quantity. They are represented as their own symbol. I repeat, any physical quantity that has only magnitude and no direction is called scalar quantity. For example, your height, you can measure any direction, your height remains the same. It doesn't require any direction. Once again, I repeat what is meant by magnitude. Magnitude is the numerical value with the unit is called, the strength of the physical quantity is called magnitude. I repeat, the strength of the physical quantity is called magnitude, which is nothing but numerical value with the unit. For example, this is a scalar quantity example. If you travel to Delhi to your relative's place, and if someone asks you about the distance, what do you reply? We say it was just like 250 kilometers, that is which runs from Chandigarh. You don't tell him that 25 kilometers towards east, then west. We just say 250 kilometers. That means we describe it only in magnitude and we don't specify directions. So it is called scalar quantity. What is meant by vector quantity? Any physical quantity that has both magnitude and direction and are denoted by an arrow mark over the symbol is called vector quantity. I repeat, any physical quantity that has both magnitude and direction is called a vector quantity. I would like to give you one small example. What do you do to measure your weight? You just stand on a weighing machine because your weight always acts towards the center of the earth. That doesn't mean you take the weighing machine and put on your head. Can you see your weight if you put your weighing machine on the head? No. So in the same way, it has some direction. Weight always acts downwards, so you have to stand on the weighing machine rather than placing the weighing machine on your head. Let us see the example given here. For example, now if you travel a straight short path in a specific direction, then we can say that I traveled 25 kilometers towards east. So in this case, direction is specified, so it falls in the category of vector quantity. So particular direction is mentioned with the physical quantity, both magnitude and direction, then we call it as vector quantity. Let us come to the first term of this chapter, motion. What is meant by distance? Let's take an example to understand distance. Consider a boy going to school, then from school going to a market, then going to a friend's place to return his book and then coming back home. Let's say he travels 2 kilometers from home to school, then 1 kilometer to market, then 1 kilometer to friend's place, and then 2 kilometers to reach home. Then the total path he traveled by is 2 plus 1 plus uh, 2, that is 6 kilometers. So the sum or total path traveled by the body or the boy gives the total distance traveled by the body. So what is distance? Define distance. Distance is defined as the total path covered by the body irrespective of direction. It is a scalar quantity. So distance is denoted by d. It is the total path traveled. So what is the unit of distance? Unit of distance is measured in meter, not second. Here meter only. Bigger unit is kilometer. So we all know 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters. What are the characteristics of distance? Here don't mention per second or per hour because distance is not having time. Distance is measured either in meter or kilometer here. Characteristics of distance. It can never be zero. Remember, distance can never be zero. It is not possible that body moves but the distance is zero. If your body travels different paths, then total distance is calculated by simply adding the magnitude of all the paths. It is a scalar quantity. If you observe in this picture, point A to point B, if you see the red path, a body is traveling irrespective of direction. The red path is called a distance. And can you see the black straight line joining A and B? This is called displacement. Displacement is the shortest distance between initial point and final point. In other words, you can say exactly in physics, displacement is change in the position of your body in a specified direction. If you want it to be very simple, the shortest distance between initial point A to the final point B is called displacement. I repeat, the shortest distance between 2 points. What are those 2 points? Initial point and final point. The shortest distance between initial point and final point is called displacement. It has a particular direction. Let us see what is given here. Let's say there were three friends, Ram, Shyam and Geeta. Now Ram has to go to Geeta's place, but he doesn't know the house. So what he plans? First he went to Shyam place and then with Shyam he went to Geeta's home. In doing so, he has to travel long distance first to Shyam house and then to Geeta. But if he knew the house of Geeta before itself, then he would have taken a short route and in specific direction. That short route in particular direction is called displacement. Displacement. What is exactly displacement? I already told you. It is the shortest route traveled by a body in a given direction. So it is represented by capital S. Above S you have to put a arrow mark. It is a vector quantity. Displacement can be zero. Distance cannot be zero, but displacement can be zero. Whenever a body starts from one point and returns to same point in the displacement is zero. For example, a body starts moving in a circular path and comes to the starting point, then the displacement of the body is initial point and final point is same and the displacement of the body is zero. If a body travels different paths, then total displacement is calculated by adding different vectors. Let us do a problem on distance and displacement. A man travels a distance of 1.5 meters towards east, then 2.0 meters in south, and then 4.5 meters towards east. Find the total distance traveled, find the resultant displacement. So here, if you observe in the figure, from A to B, 1.5 meters, from B to C, 2 meters, and C to D, 4.5 meters. So AB plus BC plus CD gives you the total distance traveled by the body, and it is equal to 8 meters. So the total distance traveled by the body is 8 meters. Now let us see what is the displacement of the body. So what is the initial point here? A. What is the final point? D. So what is the shortest distance between initial point and final point? A to D. If you observe this clearly, A to D is very short. That's why displacements, even aeroplanes take the shortest route to travel between two points. So let us see here. Now the resultant displacement can be calculated by joining the two ends, that is starting and ending point. Let's say here 1 centimeter is equals to 1 meter. Then we can measure the length from A to D, which gives us the displacement. Like in this, if you will draw the lines with the measurement, then the displacement comes out to be 6 meters by using Pythagoras theorem. Clearly you can see, right, these two are right angle triangles. So using Pythagoras theorem, you can find the hypotenuse length. Uniform and non-uniform motion. What is meant by uniform motion? When can you say a body is said to be in uniform motion? Just imagine our earth revolving around the sun. It moves with a uniform motion, meaning at any point in its imaginary orbit you take at any point, its speed is the same. Its speed is same. So that speed is maintained at every point on its orbit. So we can say it is as uniform motion. So when a body covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, however small the time interval may be, the body is said to be uniform motion. Example, a train running at a speed of 90 kilometers per hour and it doesn't change. Wherever you just see its speed is showing as 90 kilometers per hour, then it is said to be moving with 90 kilometers per hour. It is said to be uniform motion. Let's say a train is traveling to Delhi and it covers the same distance in the same intervals of time. So it takes 1 hour for 90 kilometers, 2 hours for 180 kilometers, 3 hours for 270 kilometers, 4 hours for 450 kilometers. So here if you observe, for every hour, it is the distance is increasing by 90 kilometers only. So every hour it travels 90 kilometers. So 90 kilometers per hour is the uniform motion of this body. So here we say that the train travels equal distances 90 kilometers in each hour. So it is said to be moving with a uniform motion. The graph involved in this is given as this chapter. The most important thing is when you draw a graph for this motion, always mention at the bottom line on the axis denotes time. Keep this in mind. Always the bottom line x-axis denotes time. The vertical line may denote either distance or displacement or velocity. In this, the straight line shows that distance and time varies linearly, that is equal increase in equal intervals of time. What is meant by non-uniform motion? When a body covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time, example, when brakes are applied to speeding a car, let's say a car travels to Delhi, covers 40 kilometers in 1 hour, and then due to huge traffic on road, it travels 25 kilometers in 1 hour, in another hour, and then in another hour takes a break for having lunch, then speed up the car and travel 50 kilometers in another hour. It can be shown as distance, that is, first hour he traveled 40 kilometers, second hour he traveled 65 kilometers, third hour he traveled 115 kilometers. See, there is no uniformity in the speed. First hour he has taken 40 kilometers to travel, second hour he traveled 15 kilometers more than the first hour, and third hour he has traveled very fast in the third hour 115 kilometers, which doesn't show any uniformity. So, in these unequal distances, it travels in equal intervals of time. The graph drawn to show non-uniform motion. This graph is showing non-uniform motion, and this is showing uniform motion. Can you see a straight line from the origin O? Here, can you see the straight line? No, you can see a bent or curved line, which is the showing non-uniform motion. Hope you have understood this first part of chapter 8 physics, motion. Thank you.